students. Today we are going to study chapter number 13 of Social Science. The name of the chapter is India, Earth Surface, Climate, Vegetation and Wildlife. In this chapter, we are going to study about India, about the earth surface of India, climate of India, vegetation of India and the wildlife of India. Let's start the chapter. Children, take out your textbooks, page number 80, and read with me. India is a country of vast geographical area. At the same time, it has geographical diversity. This diversity amazes us. The high peaks of Himalayan mountain range in the north are snow covered throughout the year. The Bay of Bengal is in the east, Arabian Sea is in the west, and Indian Ocean lies in the south of India. So children, I already taught you in the chapter Unity in Diversity that our country India has a unique diversity. But not only in the not only we have diversity in language, traditions, etc., but in India we can see the geographical diversity also. On one hand, India has highest peaks of Himalayan mountain range. On the other hand, we have Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea and Indian Ocean. So by these diversities, India is also called an peninsula. The area of India is 32.8 lakh square kilometer. It is estimated to be 3,214 km from Kashmir in the north to Kanyakumari in the south, and it extends 2,933 km from Arunachal in the east to Kutch in Gujarat in the west. Different landforms such as long sea coast, high mountain ranges, river plains, the plateaus and the islands away from the shore are seen here. The diversity of cultures and languages along with the climate and flora attract us. Diversity is seen in our customs and traditions also. This diversity and the feeling of one country gives us a unique identity. Now children, the north-south length of India is about 3,214 km and the east-west width is about 2,933 kilometers. So the total area of India is 32.8 lakh square kilometer. Okay. And the diversity in climate, vegetation, language, customs, traditions, etc. and civilization and one nation ideology means unity in diversity is the unique identity of India. This unity in diversity makes India unique and it gives a unique identity. The physiographic diversities of India are mountains, plateaus, plains, deserts, sea coast, coastal plains, etc. Now let's study physical division of India first. Physical divisions are made on the basis of Earth's surface. The Himalaya mountain is mostly situated in the north to guard our boundary. Its parallel north-south mountain range is divided into 5 parts. The Greater Himalaya or Himadri mountain range is located in the extreme north. The highest mountain peak of the world, Mount Everest, lies here. To the south of it lies the Central Himalayas or the Himachal mountain range, where many tourist spots and places of pilgrimage are there. To the south of it lies mountain range known as Shivalik or Outer Himalayas. Now students, there are 5 physiographical zones of India. The first is Northern Mountainous region, second is Northern Plain region, Third is plateau of central and southern India. Fourth is coastal plains. And fifth is archipelagos. The northernmost mountain range of Himalayas is known as Greater Himalaya or Himadri. The middle mountain range of central Himalaya or Himachal and the southern mountain range is known as Shivalik range or Lesser Himalaya. Mount Everest is the highest mountain peak of the world. It is situated in Greater Himalaya or Himadri mountain range. To the south of Himalaya lies Ganga, Satluj, Yamuna, Brahmaputra and vast fertile plains made up of alluvial deposited by the rivers and their tributaries. The flat plains made up by the rivers are very fertile. High density of population is seen over there due to more agricultural production. Now children, the Great Northern Plain is formed of the alluvium brought down by big rivers that originate from Himalayas like Ganga, Satluj, Yamuna, Brahmaputra, etc. and their tributaries. Mount Everest mountain peak is in Nepal. The Great Northern Plain is level plain and is fertile with productive soil for agriculture. The northern plain is a flat land and there is more agricultural production, so there is dense population here. To the west of India lies Great Thar Desert. It experiences more heat and less rainfall. Sometimes it does not rain for 3-4 years continuously. Very less vegetation is seen in this area. Now students, in the west of India, Thar Desert is there, which is a great desert and it experiences much heat and less rainfall. So it has very less vegetation and very less population. To the south of northern plains, there is an inverted triangular plateau of south. The land surface of that area is uneven. Some parts of it are higher while some parts of it are of less height. There are many mountain ranges and hilly regions in this area. There is Aravalli mountain range to the northwest region of this area, which is the most ancient mountain range of the world. Vindhya and Satpura mountain ranges are located to the southeast of it. Narmada and Tapi rivers flow here from east to west and meet the Arabian Sea along after flowing through the Vindhya and Satpura mountain ranges. Eastern Ghat is situated to the east of southern plateau and Western Ghat is situated in the west side of southern plateau. The Western Ghats are in row while Eastern Ghats are intermittent. Since these plateaus are made of volcanoes, minerals have been found in ample quantity. Now students, the Aravalli, Vindhyachal, Satpura, Nilgiri, etc. mountain ranges are situated in the peninsular Deccan Plateau of India. The Eastern Ghats are situated to the east of the Deccan Plateau and the Western Ghats are to the west of it. The Southern Plateau is formed of volcanic lava. So minerals are obtained from here in ample quantity, means in big quantity. Fertile delta regions have been formed by rivers like Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, etc. in South India. Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers have formed a vast delta region called Sundarban. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are located in the southeastern part of Bay of Bengal and the Coral Islands of Lakshadweep are located to the west of Kerala, seacoast in the Arabian Sea in India. The Indian Ocean lies to the south of India. Now children, you can see this map and I already taught you how to read the map. Okay, we have conventional signs or colors to read the map. So here we have given the Indian physical, or we can say natural map. Okay, this is a India natural map. How you can see in the map, or you can read in the map, that it is given the different, you can see the height in meters which is given in the box. This is the keys to read the map. Now this, you can see that brown color shows above 1200 meters. Little less, it is 600 to 1200. Dark brown above 1200, light brown 600 to 1200. Then coffee color like type, it is 300 to 600. Then green is 0 to 300, and a line, you can see a thick line, that is mountain range. So you can read this map by these keys or colors properly. Okay. Now, eastern coastal plain is located to the east and western central plain is located to the west of southern plateau. As I already taught you, that western coastal plains are comparatively narrower than the eastern coastal plains. Godavari, Mahanadi, Kaveri and Krishna flow towards east and forms fertile delta region and meets the Bay of Bengal. Brahmaputra and Ganga form a vast delta of Sundarban in the Bay of Bengal. So, as I already taught you that Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers have formed a vast delta region which is called Sundarban. And fertile delta regions have been formed by rivers like Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, etc. in South India. There are two island groups in India, Andaman and Nicobar Islands to the southeast of Bay of Bengal and Lakshadweep Islands made of corals in the Arabian Sea lie to the west coast of Kerala. Indian Ocean is in the extreme south of India. So I discussed this thing that the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are located in the southeastern part of Bay of Bengal and the coral islands of Lakshadweep are located to the west of Kerala sea coast as in the Arabian Sea in India. So the Indian Ocean lies to the south of, extreme south of India. So this was our physical division of India, that we can divide India in 5 physiographic zones, that is northern mountainous region, northern plain region, plateau of central and southern India, coastal plains and archipelagos. Okay. Now let's move ahead. Now on the page number 82 in your textbook, you have given a blank map and you have to show following things in this map: Great Desert of India, Ganga Plain, Himalaya, Eastern Ghat, Western Ghat, Eastern Coastal Plain, Western Coastal Plain, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep Islands, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean. So this is your activity, that you have to fill this map like this. You can see in this map that it shows Great Desert of India, Ganga Plain, Himalaya, Eastern Ghat, Western Ghat, all are seen here. So in this way, you also have to fill this map in your textbook. This is your activity. Okay. Now let's move ahead to climate of India. Daily changes in the atmosphere are called weather. Climate is the average weather condition of any place for about 30 years. You may have noticed that sometimes the heat increases, sometimes it is cold, and sometimes the sky is covered by clouds. and the sun is covered behind the clouds. The details of winds you might have learned from radio or TV following seasons are experienced in India. So students, daily changes occurring in the atmosphere are called weather. The average weather condition of any place for about 30 years is called climate, and in this table you can see the seasons are given and the months are given. Which season follows which months, it is given in this table. Like you have seen that India has experienced 4 seasons. First is winter, which lies in December to February. Second is summer, which lies from March to May. Third is monsoon, which lies from June to September. And fourth is season of retreating monsoon, which is from October to November and also called autumn season. So let's start with the winter first. Winter is a cold season. Since the sun rays fall diagonally and occasionally snow falls so the temperature drops in the northern plains and the Himalaya mountain region. The areas of northern parts of Gujarat experience more cold than other parts of the state. Days are shorter in this season. Now students, the winter season lies during December to February. As I already discussed this, it is very cold season. Northern plains experience more cold because the sun rays fall diagonally and occasionally snowfall is also there, and the areas of northern parts of Gujarat experience more cold than the other parts of state, and in winter days are short while nights are long. Next is summer. Summer is the season of tropical heat. Temperature rises very high as sun rays fall vertically during these days. Temperature remains low in the areas near the sea coast in comparison to the continental parts of the country. Dry and hot winds blow in the noontime, which is called loo. Northern part of Gujarat and western part of Rajasthan experience more heat during this season. Days are longer than the winter during this season. The next season is the summer season in India, which prevails between March to May. And in this season, days are longer than winter. Also, summer season experiences dry and hot winds, which is called loo, and temperature remains low in areas near the sea coast, but the temperature rises very high where the sun rays fall vertically during these days. So it is very hot season. Next is monsoon, which is called rainy season also. Monsoon is a season of rain. The southwest winds flowing from the seaside are humid. These winds bring rain. One of the current of these winds advances above the Arabian Sea to Kerala, Maharashtra, Gujarat and central part of India, while other current of these winds advances towards the Ganga plains through Bay of Bengal, Andaman and Nicobar Islands and eastern India. When both the winds currents advance, they meet with each other and bring rain to western Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab and eastern Rajasthan. With the advent of rain, the peasants are activated to do agricultural work. When winds are obstructed by mountains, they give more rain. Now, the rainy season of India occurs between June to September, as I already discussed with you. The monsoon winds blowing from Nairutya means southwest direction, which brings rain to India. There are so high mountains in Gujarat, so the amount of rainfall is less as there is no high mountain to obstruct monsoon winds. So in rainy season, current winds advances above the Arabian Sea to Kerala, Maharashtra, Gujarat and central part of India. So when they meet each other, they brings rain to western Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab and eastern Rajasthan. So you know that in India, most of the agriculture depends on rain. So with the advent of rain, peasants are activated to do agriculture work because it depends on rain. And when winds are obstructed by mountains, they give more rain. So it experiences more rain in northern part because northern region has more mountains. The rainfall in Gujarat starts from the second or third week of June and by the first week of July. It arrives all over Gujarat. Gujarat does not have large mountains in the way of these winds, so less rainfall is there. Since most of the cultivation in India is dependent on rainfall, so it is considered that good monsoon means a large crop in agriculture. This season is very important for agriculture. As I already told you that there are no high mountains in Gujarat, so the amount of rainfall is less in Gujarat because there is no high mountain to obstruct monsoon winds. And most of the agriculture of India depends on rainfall, as about 80% of the rainfall of India is received during the rainy season. So it is considered to be the most important season in India. And it also considered that good monsoon means large crop in agriculture. So this season is very important. Now, next is retreating monsoon wind season. Winds blow from land to sea in this season. It is seen that this condition is absolutely opposite to the monsoon season. These winds blowing from northeast blow from land, so they are dry. Hence, they do not give rain. Sky is clear without clouds in these days. Temperature increases gradually, which adversely affect the human health. Temperature starts decreases as October ends and semi-cold is experienced in the early mornings of November. Since these winds pass over the Bay of Bengal, they are humid and gives rain in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh situated on the eastern side of India. Distinct difference of season is experienced in the climate of India. Due to these peculiarities, generally it is called monsoon climate. So, the retreating monsoon winds pass over the Bay of Bengal and hence bear some moisture. So, they give rain to Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh situated on the eastern coast of India. And in this season, wind blows from land to sea. So, it is opposite condition from the monsoon season because in monsoon season, wind blows from sea to land. So, these winds are very hot and dry. A distinct difference in the seasons is experienced in the climate of India. So, the climate of India is called monsoon climate because we can see very different, distinct difference in the seasons. So, it is called monsoon climate. Now, let's do an activity given on page number 84 that you have to find correct option of season and festivals from those blanks in the bracket. Now, you have given the name of the festivals and you have to write in the column festival that in which season this festival lies. So, in winter season, we know that Christmas and Uttarayan belongs to winter season. Dhuleti, Cheti Chand belongs to summer season. Janmashtami, Raksha Bandhan and Dashera belongs to monsoon season, and Sharad Poonam lies in the retreating monsoon and season. So children, I conclude this chapter here, and we will meet soon again in the next part of this chapter. Till then, bye bye, take care.